Once upon a time, at the corner of a cobblestone street, there stood an old antique shop filled with treasures that whispered stories of long ago. The shop's windows were always dusty, and the wooden sign above the door read, "Mr. Wren's Wonders." Inside, among shelves stacked with clocks, porcelain dolls, and weathered books, sat a little brass lamp with a small glass shade the color of honey. The lamp was not big or fancy. It wasn't gilded with gold or studded with jewels like some of the grand chandeliers hanging in the shop. But it had a warm, gentle light that glowed softly whenever it was plugged in. Its name, though no one but the objects in the shop knew, was Luma. Luma loved to shine. She loved the way her light reached into the dusty corners and made the shadows dance. She loved watching people's faces brighten when they saw the cozy glow she cast. But most of all, she loved the feeling of warmth she could give, a warmth that seemed to make everything around her a little bit happier. But lately, Luma hadn't been plugged in for a long time. Mr. Wren, the shopkeeper, was old and forgetful. He spent most of his days sitting by the counter reading his newspaper or mending old watches. People didn't come into the shop much anymore. The world outside had changed. People wanted shiny new things, not old lamps like her. Sometimes, Luma would talk to the other objects when the shop was quiet at night. The grandfather clock in the corner would tick and talk in his deep, slow voice. "You still dreaming of shining again, little one?" he would rumble. Of course, Luma would reply, her voice soft and hopeful. "Light makes everything better. I just wish I could help someone again." The old clock chuckled. "You've got a good heart, Luma. But maybe your time has passed." Luma refused to believe that. Every night, she dreamed that someone would walk into the shop, see her sitting quietly on the shelf, and take her home. One chilly evening, just as the sun was setting, the bell above the door jingled. A small girl, no more than 10, stepped inside. She had tangled brown hair tucked beneath a red wool hat and a coat that looked 2 sizes too big. Her cheeks were pink from the cold. Mr. Wren looked up from his newspaper. "Hello there, miss," he said kindly. "Can I help you?" The girl hesitated, glancing around at the shelves crammed with old things. I just wanted to look," she said softly. "Of course," said Mr. Wren, smiling. "Take your time." The girl wandered through the shop, her eyes wide. She stopped by a display of tiny music boxes, then by a shelf of books. When she reached the corner where Luma sat, her gaze lingered. "Oh," she whispered. Luma wished more than anything she could speak so the little girl would know she was glad to be seen. The girl reached out and brushed away a bit of dust from Luma's glass shade. "You're pretty," she murmured. "I bet you'd look nice on my table." Mr. Wren came over, wiping his hands. "That old lamp?" He chuckled. "It's been here longer than I can remember. Doesn't look like much, but she still works. Here, I'll show you." He plugged Luma into a nearby socket, and with a soft click, she came alive. Her golden light spread gently across the counter, chasing away the dimness of the shop. The girl's eyes widened, and her smile bloomed like sunlight. "Oh! She's perfect." Luma glowed a little brighter. She felt happiness ripple through her tiny brass frame. "Would you like to buy her?" asked Mr. Wren. The girl's face fell. "I don't think I have enough money," she said sadly. "I was just looking." Mr. Wren studied her quietly for a moment. Her coat had a torn pocket, and her shoes looked worn. Then he smiled softly. "Tell you what," he said. "This little lamp's been waiting a long time for someone to care about her. Why don't you take her home? Consider it a gift." The girl blinked. "Really?" "Really," he said. "Just promise me you'll take good care of her." The girl's eyes sparkled with tears. "I will. Thank you, sir." She gently picked up Luma, holding her like something precious. As she left, the doorbell jingled again, and a rush of cold air swept through the shop. That night, Luma sat on the small wooden table in the girl's room. The room was tiny, with cracked walls and a single bed covered by a patchwork blanket. But when the girl plugged her in, the golden light filled every corner, turning the little space into something warm and safe. The girl smiled and whispered, "Good night, little lamp." And for the first time in years, Luma shone with all her heart. Days turned into weeks, and Luma became part of the girl's world. Her name, Luma learned, was Elsie. She lived with her mother, who worked long hours sewing clothes to make ends meet. Their home was small but full of love. Whenever her mother returned home tired, Luma would glow softly, lighting the table where Elsie helped her sew or did her homework. Sometimes, when Elsie read before bed, she'd whisper stories aloud so Luma could listen too. She'd talk about her dreams, how she wanted to be a teacher one day, how she wanted to help other children learn to read. One evening, as snow began to fall outside, the electricity in their little home flickered and went out. The room plunged into darkness. Elsie gasped. "Oh no! Mama, the lights!" Her mother sighed, lighting a candle. "Looks like the power's gone, love. We'll just have to wait." Elsie looked at Luma sitting quietly on the table. "If only you didn't need electricity," she whispered sadly. Luma wished she could help. She wanted so badly to shine for Elsie. That night, while everyone slept, Luma thought about how much she loved giving light, not just the kind that came from electricity, but the kind that made people feel safe and cared for. The next morning, the power was still out, and the room felt cold. Elsie's mother looked worried. "I'll have to go to work anyway," she said, wrapping her scarf around her neck. "Stay warm, my dear." Elsie nodded. As soon as her mother left, she sat by the window, watching snowflakes fall. She sighed and picked up her schoolbooks. The pages were hard to read in the gray light. She turned toward Luma and whispered, "I wish you could shine, even just a little." Then, something strange happened. Luma felt warmth rise inside her, a soft pulse that came from deep within. And before Elsie's eyes, the little lamp began to glow. Not with the strong light of electricity, but with a gentle golden shimmer, as if her heart itself was shining. Elsie gasped and smiled. "You're glowing," she cried softly. "Oh, Luma, you're really glowing." Luma's light filled the room, wrapping everything in warmth. Elsie read her books again, laughing softly in the golden light. When her mother came home that evening, she stopped in amazement. "Elsie," she whispered, how is your lamp on?" "I don't know, Mama," Elsie said, beaming. "But she started glowing all by herself. I think she just wanted to help." Her mother touched the lamp gently, feeling the soft warmth it gave off. "Well," she said, her eyes misty, "then maybe she's a little bit magical." Word spread through their small building. Neighbors who were cold and afraid of the dark came by to see the glowing lamp that never went out. Elsie and her mother invited them in, letting the light fill their tiny home and spill into the hallway. Children gathered around, reading books and telling stories under Luma's glow. For days, until the power returned, Luma's gentle light never faded. It shone steady and warm, as if love itself was keeping her alive. When the electricity finally came back, Elsie's mother smiled at the lamp and said softly, "You've done something special, little one." From then on, Luma wasn't just a lamp. She became a symbol of hope in their small neighborhood. People would walk by their window at night and see the soft golden light and smile, knowing that even in the darkest times, there was warmth to be found. Years passed. Elsie grew up. She became a teacher, just like she dreamed. Her classroom was filled with bright colors, books, and laughter. And on her desk, right beside the pencil holder and a stack of papers, sat Luma, the same little brass lamp, still shining. Whenever her students came in on gloomy days, she'd turn Luma on, and the light would spread across the room, soft and golden. "This lamp," she'd tell them, "is very special. She once lit up a whole neighborhood when the lights went out. She reminds me that even the smallest light can make a big difference. Her students would lean closer, eyes wide with wonder. Is it magic? One would ask. Elsie would smile. Maybe. Or maybe kindness is the real magic. Because when you share warmth and light with others, it grows. And every time she said those words, Luma would glow just a little brighter, as if she understood. At night, when the classroom was quiet and the world outside was dark, Luma would shine softly, remembering the little girl who believed in her. She no longer worried about being forgotten or sitting in shadows. She had found her purpose, not just to give light, but to remind everyone that even the smallest spark of kindness can light up the world. And so, in that cozy classroom filled with laughter and dreams, the little lamp that loved to shine kept glowing, her warm light never fading, her heart forever bright.